Good to go? You hit start recording, right? All right. Welcome, everyone, to Season 2, Episode 35 of Motivate Me 313's podcast. We got another amazing show ready for you today. Looking forward to another great topic, a great conversation. As you guys know, let me introduce everybody that is here today. You got my little sister, Sada Thabit, in the building. Of course, you got myself, Omar T. To the left of me, you got my other sister, Abir Thabit. I started this new trend. I don't call her big sister anymore. She said,
I said, let the people decide.
let the people decide.
I like that.
All right, then we got Melanie in the building. Ramsey, you want to go ahead and get the round of applause uh, going. And shout out to Melanie. She is here. And we are here to talk about life after divorce, part 2. You know, I mentioned part 2 because we did have a part 1. I probably should have sent that to you just so you can maybe see how it went. I'm sorry. That would have made sense, right?
It's all good.
But part 1, it was great. We had Samira Nagy and Najwa Ali on the show. They did a great job, you know, talking about different topics. So we kind of got different questions because, you know, it was an interesting topic. And I felt like it was not one that you can just kind of have one episode on. So we decided, hey, we're going to dive into this. Melanie agreed that this would be a great conversation to have. And so we were like, let's do it. Let's do it. So we're looking forward to another topic today. But before we do that, I got to make sure you let you know to subscribe to all of our pages. You got YouTube, Oz Media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under Oz Media. You can listen to this show right now, since it's not live. You can listen to the show on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. And for future reference, if you want to call in, our number is 313-306-1750. Gotta give a shout out to the sponsors. You got Balkan House, Hanley International Academy, Qahwa House, BC Adhesives, and Juice Box and Hamtramck. You know, Melanie is sipping that Qahwa House coffee right there. So you know we have to give a shout out to Qahwa House. So we're going to go ahead and run that Qahwa House ad. And then we are going to go ahead and get this show on the road. So shout out to the Qahwa House. The Qahwa House. The Qahwa House is the first coffee shop of its kind. The Qahwa House is a family business established in 2017 for the sole purpose of providing the best quality Yemeni coffee with no added preservatives, artificial additives, or flavors. You can stop by Qahwa House to try their famous Yemeni latte, Adani Shahi, Mafawad, and Jubani coffees. You can also stop by to try their delicious pastries, such as the Yemeni favorite Sabaya, their sembusas, and their new menu item, Everything Mini Bites. There are currently 4 Qahwa House locations, with 2 of them coming soon as well, to make it a total of 6. Their 4 locations is West Dearborn, East Dearborn, Williamsburg, New York, Lombard, Illinois, with 2 new locations coming in Canton, Michigan, and Petersburg, New Jersey. So no matter where you're at in the country, be sure to stop by a Qahwa House and get a glimpse of what the Yemeni culture is all about. You know, I got to make sure to give a shout out to my boy Ramsey over there in the back. Go ahead and give yourself a round of applause. You know what I'm saying? He's always here doing his thing, helping out, supporting, you know, with everything. So shout out to my man Ramsey. We appreciate all of them, Yusuf, Zach, all of them that help out.
He's
behind
looking
the scenes.
fresh, too.
Yeah, he is looking fresh. You know, he's about to graduate or get promoted from 8th grade to 9th grade. You know, this is your last 2-3 weeks with Ramsey.
I don't know, man. I started working at the school at the same time he started preschool. So we've been going together every single day.
Oh, my God.
And I just don't know what to do.
Oh, your baby's not a baby anymore.
It's not. It's so weird. I don't know. Like, it feels weird. Because we grew up together. Like, you have to understand, like, the teachers also helped me raise him.
Aww.
Like, we did it together.
That's amazing.
Right.
So.
I'm like emotional.
Yeah, I feel like we should have our own show about this right here.
I don't know.
The stories, memories of Abir and Ramsey growing up. All right.
Have Ramsey on the panel too.
Yes, for sure. Melanie, you know, a lot going on in your life, you know. So let's start off with how have you been? This is not the first time we've had Melanie on the show. We had her for a Woman Pioneer show. You know, she comes on. You know, I know I'm not gonna call it the way you taught us to call it, but you got Haute Hijab, all right? I know it's like Haute Hijab or Haute Hijab. I don't want to mess it up, but you know, I figured I'm gonna mess it up anyways. But
No, you're good.
shout out to you. You know, she's doing big things always, mashallah. And so, you know, she's back again. Looking forward to the show. But how you been? How's everything been with you?
Good. Alhamdulillah. It's been a busy stretch. Graduations and just family time. So this is like in the middle of the chaos, but it's good. Alhamdulillah. All's good. Work's good, company's good, hijabs are good, you looking good.
Thank you. I had to, make sure I rocked mine
That,
for sure.
that fine pleat, you looking good.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah as well. How are you guys?
Good. Alhamdulillah. Same kind of.
Yeah.
Busy. Life is busy now.
I know.
Everybody's usually just busy.
I know.
That's why it's great, like, to have this moment where, like, we get to sit down and kind of have a conversation that, let's be honest, like, we don't even get to have even as siblings sometimes.
Really?
Most of
Yeah.
the time we're there talking on the couch.
Wow.
This guy, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
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 So that's
You
why,
might not have this time otherwise.
yeah,
100%.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's this era too. Sorry, like we're all in the age where everybody's either getting married, having kids,
Right.
or graduating. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So I feel like
You know what's funny? The opposite is happening to us. So speaking of divorce, my brother's going through a divorce right now. I went through mine. And so we're coming together because we're out of our marriages. And like we're actually have time for each other where we didn't before.
that's crazy.
So it's like the
So true.
opposite effect for us because we're, in our like late 30s and my brother's in his, I think he's like 41 or something now, but it's crazy how life works. You think when you're like in your mid 20s, early 30s and you make those big life decisions, like this is your life for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere in it's your 30s, something happens, like your life blows up and you're like, oh, I guess I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole new chapter or path out there for me.
Speaking as a 25-year-old, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I'm so in my head right now. And I feel like, is this going to be my life for the next 10 freaking
No.
15 years? But life changes so much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not the same person I was literally a month ago.
Exactly. And that'll continue to be the case for the rest of your life. Yeah, but we don't know that when we're younger.
No, you don't. You think it's just you don't see past like the present in a way. You try to think about the future, but you're planning so much like for the future during the present that you're not living in the present, and then bam, things
That's
happen.
exactly it.
And we live with a lot of pressure all around us as well.
Oh, 100%. Society?
The comparing.
Family?
and the-
Listen, I just want to let y'all know we already like diving into a nice conversation. Last time I left the conversation with Melanie, I went and hung out with my uncles and cousins. I told all of them, y'all, I just want to let y'all know I love all y'all. All right, I just already told them that. Y'all looked at me and I was like, listen, man, we just had a great show. We're going to be posting it like in a week or two. I was like, it was a great topic, man. And we all had to, we felt the vibe. It's already starting right now. So that's what you're going to get out of today's show. There's going to be some nice, deep conversations.
Alhamdulillah.
I saw that you were here during Ramadan, here as in the Dearborn, Michigan area. How was that for you?
It was good. God, what was I here for? Oh, I had something going on. I was speaking somewhere. Oh, Islamic Relief. So I went to go to Turkey in February to help with the earthquake efforts with Islamic Relief. So then after that, they kind of bring me to different places to help fundraise for the relief efforts. So they brought me here to do an event at Unity Center. And I was like, bet, I'm coming home and I'm staying home. So I stayed the last 10 days in Eid. And like, it was my first time home for Eid in like 3 years to be with my fam. I'm always like in New York. So it was good. It was really good. It was busy, but it was really good.
I do want to say your niece, hilarious.
Oh my God.
I love her.
I can't with her.
Oh my God. Like
I love her to
is a ball of
death.
energy, and she's just like she's so cute.
I know.
I swear it was so funny seeing her. I was like, I like her.
She's adorable.
So cute. When she was dressing up, that was hilarious.
I know.
Is she like older or young?
No, no, she's
like-
11.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say 11, 12, I would say.
Yeah, but she's so sassy and she's such a natural in front of the camera. And it's like, she's
Witty,
Yeah,
like, oh.
she's a whole thing. Yeah, I could see her being an influencer.
100%.
Yeah.
Like a quirky one. You know? So
Yeah.
cute.
In another life, I would be an influencer as well.
Why? What's
Well,
keeping you
yeah, I was
now?
gonna say, what's
I can't.
Why?
I think it's. I think we're to get to the questions.
No, it's fine.
Well,
This is what we're here for.
I'm not ready for that type of spotlight.
I get you.
Yeah. If
I
I,
get
lived
you.
in an area where I don't live, I would. But
Oh, I
because-
hate that.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I know.
dumb.
Yeah.
That's why I don't live in Michigan, y'all. I'm sorry I said it.
But I love it. I love Michigan.
Not that I'm not
I'll
rocking
take it.
Detroit today.
Yeah.
But that's
it's good
why
to be from here, but not live here, I think.
Detroit. If Detroit raises you, you're in a good spot
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah.
But I totally understand that pressure living here and that convention and that mold. And I'm not about that life either. I can't. It's hard for me. That's why I'm like,
It's a
I
whole
have
topic.
I get in, I have my fill, I see my friends, I see my family, and I dip. I'm like, deuces, I got my fill, I'm out. It's tough for me. So I understand.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
That's
rocking
a topic. That's actually a,
No,
a
it's a
topic
real
that
to- and
could
you know what?
actually be held. 'Cause
It's not
everybody feels that
specific
way.
to Detroit.
Yeah.
It's very
Are you
specific to
saying
Muslim
Michigan?
communities in general in the United States. I everywhere I go, you feel that. Whenever you have that really tight knit Muslim community, I don't know why it's in us. That's why if I didn't live in New York City, I wouldn't live in the United States. There's no way. I can't. I can't.
So, two things off of that one. Number one, a lot of people say it's really like growing up or being around like your hometown or your home city. People feel like that if you are in there for too long, that you kind of you don't get a chance.
Stagnate.
Yeah, exactly. And then I remember quickly with Boys Meets World, Mr. Feeney. Shout out to Mr. Feeney. I just remember. I remember.
I
used to
love that
Mr.
show.
Feeney.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
All
Love
right,
me.
I
so-
learned a lot of advice from that.
Yeah, so Mr. Feeney always used to give Corey advice,
Love to do
right? And so he mentioned like a plant. You keep it in the house, it grows slowly. You don't really give it a chance, whatever. Then he took the plant outside and he said, "Look how fast it grows."
That's right.
And that's I think that's just with every community. I feel like whenever you're so in a tight knit community. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously a lot of Muslim communities are like that. You don't really get a chance to see what the world is, and
sheltered.
it's not a bad thing. It's just you don't really get a chance to grow.
Yeah, you don't
You
get
know?
to see what you're made of
Yeah,
because you're comfortable.
for sure.
So it's not for everybody leaving, but if you feel stifled, dip. That's okay. But for some people, it's like, no, this is comfort. This is home. This is where I want to be, and that's good. That's good to know yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my brother would never leave.
I would
Michigan.
never leave.
There you go.
I would never leave. I'd rather travel the world and still have my home and be comfortable,
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see what's out there, but I can't. I can never leave Michigan.
I would. But
I
not now.
was gonna say I've been quiet over here.
Man,
I've been
when I
quiet.
was younger, I wouldn't. But like, I would not leave right now. Obviously, I would not do that to him. Like he's going into high school, like whatever. But like if he moved on and he's older, and I would. Why not?
I've been gonna go to wherever college he goes to, man. Leave him
Listen.
alone, I've
I would
Let him
love.
go.
I would love teaching overseas a little bit. Like I don't know. I just want to
But I just
Vibe
like a lot
out.
of people that do. I mean, you could speak for yourself. Like a lot of people that end up moving, they're just like wasting their days off to come back to Michigan or to come back to where their home is. Like I would never want to do that.
Really?
I'd rather use my days off to, I mean, I have FOMO. I would be crying if you guys are just like hanging out just a random Wednesday and I'm just like, like I wouldn't be able to do that.
I hear you. Yeah,
For sure.
Everybody's
Interesting.
different.
So, believe it or not, we're here to talk about life after divorce. But the one thing I do want to say, and I'm sure they're all going to agree to this, is that one, we're not professionals on this topic. They're just sharing their experiences. And number two, we are not trying to normalize divorce. I know when we had our first show, there was a couple people that weren't too happy that it seemed like we were,
Or we want to celebrate it or
Yeah.
push
That's
it for everybody.
fascinating. What was the pushback?
No, basically, I feel like no one wanted to really dig deep in like what their reason was. So it was like, okay, it wasn't serving our purpose or whatever. Like, a comment was made like that, just so they can make sure that they didn't want to put their business out there. And then there was a little bit of hate about
'Cause-
that's not good enough, or you ruined the family because of that, and they don't understand the whole story. Like, just mind your own business.
Right. I don't mean to be that person, but I think it's important to normalize divorce. I don't think we should celebrate it necessarily, but
Yeah.
normalizing it is important because it's a part of life. It's natural. It happened during the time of the Prophet ﷺ all the time.
Yep.
And if he even advised, like, listen, y'all aren't working out, there's nothing wrong with that. And we can't feel like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's something that happens.
So I think you
I,
wanted
I,
to say
I
something.
used
all
the
the
wrong
time.
wrong
Well,
word.
yeah,
used the
that's
wrong
why I
word,
had to repeat
normalize.
after him,
Yeah,
like, celebrate.
Celebrate. That is true. I'm sorry. I didn't
Yeah.
mean to say normalize. Celebrate is the correct word.
Yeah.
That I meant to
Or
say. What-
encourage.
Yeah.
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 Like, everyone needs to make their own decision.
Yeah.
You should try to, if there's something to, salvage, but if you're not happy, if you're physically harming yourself, mentally harming yourself, if it's not, good for you, like, yourself, everybody is different, and everybody knows what they can handle in this life, and Allah doesn't want to put you through anything
That's right.
that you can't handle, where you're not focusing on what you're supposed to do as a human,
That's right.
That's when
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Yeah, it's last resort. It's
Yeah.
like I fought. I fought to the end.
Right.
And like this just, it's not going to work out.
And every story is different. Every like situation, how they were brought up to it, whether it was arranged, whether it wasn't, whether they were there for.
Can you just push the mic more close? Like just
I can lift
it'll
myself
slide.
up. Rather, I forgot my train of thought.
No, I'm
Whether
sorry.
it's been 25 years or 5 days, things happen,
Right.
and it's okay. Don't feel. I feel like I tell everybody this. Like, I've never got divorced before, but like I would never want the worldly life or anyone try to pressure me, making me feel like I'm making that bad decision if I think it's the best decision for me.
That's right.
So we're kind of talking about it, but why is it important to talk about life after divorce? We'll start off with you, Melanie.
It's what I was just saying,
Yeah.
because I think that it needs to just be a normal thing that we can accept, because otherwise then we develop shame around it, and we can't live in shame. We can't be walking on eggshells around our own history, our own life experience, our own past, because other people don't feel comfortable talking about it. That's on you. This is me. This is my life. This is what happened to me. This is what Allah brought to me. Like Allah Kareem, He's the one, He's in control of everything at the end of the day. He allowed it at the end of the day. And so if I can't speak about it, if I can't, be open about it, now I'm hiding it. And if I have to hide something about me, that makes me, number one, I'm not being my full self. And number two, you cower and you go inward into that, like I said, shame, which is not healthy. And then you do that on an individual level, and then it grows onto a collective level, and now you got collective shame. That's what we've done. Divorce was something that happened regularly during the time of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? So something happened between that time and now where we as a community, as a Muslim ummah, made ourselves feel like shame around it. And that is why I think we need to be open and talk about it. What if you feel comfortable? Like, no force on anybody, but you should feel comfortable to be able to talk about your experience if choose to, in order to normalize real everyday life. Like, this is life. It happens. And also to help others who are going through it. Because I know when I was sharing as much as I was, and I'm a open book. That's how Allah made me. Like, I'm a public persona. I'm a public face for a reason, because I'm comfortable with it. I have
People
no
love
problem.
transparency, and that's why, people would love to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
And I learn from you.
Exactly. And alhamdulillah, it comes natural to me. So as I was going through my journey in healing and post-divorce and through the divorce even, I was sharing a lot on Instagram. And I remember being like, should I be sharing all this? Like, this feels like a bit much at times, because it's heavy stuff. That's the other thing. I usually like to really only share or show my, like, when I'm in good energy. But I was low for like 2 years straight. I was in a really deep, dark depression. And I was sharing my story, and I was like, should I be doing this? And I was like, yes. Why? Number one, that's just who I am. It's just me as a person. I'm an open book. But number two, you don't know who's going through it, who needs to hear these words, who needs to feel like they're not alone, who needs to feel like, damn, thank you for validating me. That's what I've been feeling. And that's what I got back in the HH fam, in the comments and DMs and all this and emails, and even till now. I was just at Salina speaking at Career Day, and some people there who had gone through their own divorce were like, yo, you don't understand how important it was that you spoke on that for themselves, for other people they knew who they were like, hey, listen to this chick, whatever, So we have to, when we speak about our experiences, no matter what it is, divorce, addictions, like losing faith, spiritual crises, talk about your experiences. No doubt, guaranteed, other people are going through it.
Yep. And for me, I didn't have an older sister. So, it would have helped to hear someone that is Muslim, as a girl, as a female, whatever, going through that. And people don't understand that everybody, even if they're going through different situations, hearing somebody else's story is only going to not make you want to do something. Either one, you're going to learn from their mistake and be like, well, I'm going to make sure that I know that the person I'm marrying is like this now, so they can avoid divorce, or wake up and realize that, hey, like, I don't have to suffer.
That's right.
And both situations are positive.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Yeah.
I love that.
Sometimes I overshare on the show.
I never thought about that. I'd be like, who did you go to be honest with you? Did you have somebody to go to?
I did not go to anyone.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of our family. Like
I did
our
not.
families.
Because everyone I went to told me to stay. Told me, like, they would ask me, does he hit you?
Makes me feel like this.
Does he, like, all I kept saying is, does he hit me? He doesn't live with me.
That's rough.
He's not my, like, he's not doing his husband duties. Like, we're not.
Say his name. I better say his name.
Name. I'm just saying, like, everybody's situation is different, okay? See, I don't like, the reason why I don't like blaming anybody, because they can be a great person now. You know what I'm
course.
saying? And we're just at that moment, at that time, it didn't
Wasn't
work out.
working out.
So, like, it was always like, they would say things that are like, just, I don't know. I couldn't go into anyone at that time.
Yeah.
And I put my foot down.
That's heartbreaking.
And that was the first time I've ever put my foot down.
Good for you.
Because I'm like, I can't live for y'all.
That's right. My mom and dad are divorced. And so when I was in, like, it hit me. I was not in the realm of thinking about divorce, because when I got married, it was a flip. Like, it was a switch that was like, you're married. It doesn't matter what happens. You're married. I think because my parents were divorced,
was gonna say
told
that.
myself,
You're not going to.
I'm not getting divorced.
Yeah.
Right. So when you tell yourself, I mean, there's no stronger force in the world than your desire to be the person that you tell yourself you are, or you tell others you are.
Yeah.
So if I say I'm not getting divorced, I'm not getting divorced. Come what may, no matter what, happy, not happy, this, that, up, down, rich, poor, doesn't matter.
Figure it out.
We'll figure it out. So it wasn't even a notion to me. And then when, like, overnight, the thought came to my brain and I was like, what is this? I was so afraid. I called my mom because she had been through it. It was the first person that I spoke to, actually, was my mom. And she was like, such a good person to turn to throughout the entire process, starting from just the fikra, just the thought, and then the rest of the journey. So having somebody to kind of help you through it, who's been through it. Divorce is honestly one of the hardest things anyone will go through, but nobody knows that unless you've been through it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it.
No, and like,
It is so hard.
and like, a lot of my friends were not even married yet. And they're like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to do it? Like, are you sure? Like, they're scaring me about it.
See?
And I'm like,
It's a messed up situation for
you know, but for me, it's not like I had, and we're going to go, dive into that. We didn't have any assets together. We didn't live together. We didn't build together. We didn't, like, I wasn't missing anything.
Okay.
Like, we haven't basically started our life together.
Okay.
You know, I got married. We stayed a couple months together in Yemen. I got pregnant right away.
Got it.
I even went through my pregnancy alone. I gave birth, like, alone. Like, we didn't have a life with him. So to me, it was like,
What's the
this,
problem?
what is this?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
I wasn't
Where's the papers?
losing-
I'll sign it.
That's right.
Yeah,
let's
I wasn't
go.
losing anything. We didn't have a life together where it was, now his life is different.
Yeah.
My life never changed.
Yeah.
Like, with him. So, yeah. It's different.
I feel like you're about to say something too.
Yeah,
Farah.
I was gonna mention how you were saying you like to just be transparent and stuff like that. But doesn't that help you heal? Like, when I tell my stories, or even my deep stories, where, like, they're hard to take in, or to even to say out loud. But I love sharing. I love sharing, and I'm assuming that it helps you heal as well.
Big time.
Yeah.
It's my therapy.
Yeah.
It is my act of processing. Like, sometimes when I go on these lives and I'm just shooting the breeze, it is because I need therapy.
Yeah.
Like, I need to talk stuff out. I need to
Yeah.
process things, and I get on there and everyone's so amazing.
They're really sweet.
The
You have a
best.
great HH fam. They're so sweet.
The best.
Yeah.
They're the best. Because everyone knows, like, it's all love here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not about that, get out. We don't want you in here. And so we're all kind of vibing off of each other. And it is very healing for me. That's why I think I am such an open book, because I have to feel all of my emotions.
Yeah.
I can't bottle anything. And so I have to let it out.
And just, sorry.
No, you're good. I was gonna.
No, and I feel like I finally am starting, because growing up, you don't want to share things because you don't want people to use that against you, right?
Yeah.
And now
hate
I
that.
feel like when you do, it's kind of like I'm already talking about it. You can't say nothing about it.
It's
Like, I'm
that
already
M&M
owning it.
Yeah, it's that 8 Mile
know?
M&M, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
that
know
way.
something about you.
That's right. Like,
Well,
let me,
Yeah.
if I own who I am and my whatever it is that you think is, that you're judging me about, then you've got no more ammo.
100%. And you know when I said that,
on Eminem's chest move on that one right there.
listen, I did this. Did you see me right now? I was like, I stood up straight when I said it too. Like,
Totally.
No, for real,
Yeah.
Eminem had a chest move on that movie right there. That was a very
Good.
smart move.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about divorce again, and so letting go can be hard. All right, sometimes letting someone go or letting go of a person that you've known for a while can be hard. It's so hard that Anna and Elsa came out with the song saying "Let It Go" to inspire others to make sure that you can just let it go, no matter what it may be.
Can you tell he has daughters?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Even without daughters, that was a hit song. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. All right. So what are some ways? I mean, there are probably people are watching who, hopefully not, inshallah not, but they might be in a situation right now. And so I guess what are some ways people can learn to let go? All right. And we can start off with you, Melanie.
I think it's the same thing with anything in your life, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a job, it's a parent, it's a sibling, it's a friend, it's a title, it's a degree. We cannot have attachments in this life to anything other than Allah, period. Unhealthy attachments. If you are getting your value from this external thing, that's a problem. Your value comes within. Your value is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's it. So you let go in the same way that you let go of any unhealthy attachment. Because if the attachment was healthy, you wouldn't want to get divorced, right? You'd be good. The two of you have a nice, healthy, secure attachment. Clearly, if you want to get divorced, it's because the attachment is unhealthy in some way. And so the way you have to let go of it is the same way you would with any other unhealthy attachment, which is to take your power back from that attachment. You no longer have power over me to dictate my value, my worth, what I am, who I am. Because that's what I think happens to so many people is you lose yourself. And you'll hear that a lot.
Yep.
I was no longer myself. I mean, the story that I'll tell is like, we were separated. We weren't divorced yet. And my dad came to town with my stepmom and my sister, and they were with me in New York. And I think my ex had called my dad afterwards just to be like, hey, like, how's Mel? Like, is she okay? Like, how's she doing? And my dad was like, honestly, she's more herself than I've seen her in a long time.
I like your dad.
Yeah, my dad's loyal, bro. He's like, I'm number one.
I know that's right.
That's right. Like, he's loyal. I think I talked about that last time. Like, my he's a G. So that's it, right? It's like you're yourself. Like right now, my brother's going through a divorce, I was just saying. And just today, my stepmom was like, oh, Roy's himself again. I'm like, right? He's like light and khafif and just happy and go lucky and like himself again. And so you have to take your power back. You have to detach yourself in a way where they no longer have any say about how, who, what, when, where. And it all comes from within because it is Allah who's guiding you. And I had to do that with my husband at the time. I had to do that with friends that I had for decades. I had to do that with my job because I became attached to my title. I had to do that with my social media status because that became something I had an unhealthy attachment to. I had to do that with so many different things. Allah had put me on this path to detach myself and to destroy any unhealthy attachment because the lesson was the only attachment is to God, and that's it. So it's very difficult, and many people who need to detach won't be able to do it because it is so hard, because they have a void inside them, a gaping hole so big that to detach themselves dysregulates them in a way where they can no longer function. And that's just their journey. That's on them. That's their specific path. But it is very, very hard.
Also, if you have a reliance on that, if you had your whole world around there, and not even just speaking with divorce, but just anything, any type of relationship, like you said, or a job or whatever, they've planned it out. They've planned their future. That was in their future, and it's like, oh wait, it could get taken away any second, any moment, and it's like, oh my God, well, now what? What can I do? I don't see myself going further or without that person or without that thing. And it really has to, you really have to like love yourself and realize that as long as you have yourself, you could exceed. And as long as you are, know your worth and all that, like you said, nothing in this worldly life could, break you or whatever, like your relationship with God and your relationship with yourself. I try to do I tried to do therapy, and I realized I it didn't affect me, or it didn't help me in the most like positive way. I felt like I was just talking to her. I know there's different types of therapy, but it was the way she did therapy with me. It was just like, hey, how are you? How was your past 3 weeks? And I would just be talking, and then I'm like, well, no, because I love myself, and I give myself, and I know my worth and whatnot. And I think I'm emotionally intelligent in a sense, that I didn't see the purpose of it. And I'm so thankful that I have family and friends that I could speak to that is like a therapy session. That's what I was saying, like sometimes we feel like we're oversharing or whatnot. But if it's a person that doesn't have those type of people, doing therapy is great, But yeah, it just made me understand and reflect, like, all this stuff, they're great, but, that could get taken away in a heartbeat.
At the end of the day, there's nothing outside of you that's more powerful than you.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing on this earth. Nothing.
It's difficult for some people to see that, especially when you were saying they're reliant on this person for years, and they've only seen themselves with this person. They don't want to start new. They don't want to get to know someone else. They don't want to be vulnerable with anybody else, even if this person is, not good for them.
Right.
They're just like, well, no, this is all I know.
Yeah. It's like you can't. What is the phrase? It's hard to think about what could be, so you settle for the devil.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wait, can we get?
Yeah, that was a good. That was
definitely.
I wish there was a spicier button.
Like purr.
Or something.
You can hit him with it.
Purr.
We can even record it for you. After the show. Every time something happens, purr. Hey, I just want to say this, and I was just thinking about it when you were saying your answers. I feel like, especially fathers, I mean Muslim parents, but fathers especially, that's why their role is very important, because when it comes to our daughters, like, we're Muslim families, you know how it is. Like, we kind of shelter our women a lot more than the men. So the women who are so used to their fathers providing for them, and then they go get married and they expect their husbands to provide for them, and they're in a situation where they expect someone else to provide for them. So a lot of the times the women don't want to leave because they think like they can't do it on their own. So this person's been providing for me my whole life.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my family would accept me back to the household. So I just got to stick with it and deal with it.
Yeah. That's such a tough one. And that's also why there are, in Sharia, certain things in place to ensure that the woman, no matter what,
It's taken care of.
is taken care of financially. Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's her father, again, her brothers, uncles, they have to provide for her.
Yep.
And if they don't, like, that's on them. They got to deal with that. But I understand that very real fear of, I don't know if they will. And so it's keeping me trapped. It's keeping me in this. But you know what? Wallahi, if you just put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't need to trust in others.
Nope.
When you put
Rizq min Allah.
that's it. And when you trust in Allah and you make that leap and say, Allah, I have tried everything. I've tried to make this work, and I feel in my heart it's time to leave. I know this guidance is coming from you. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to survive, but I trust you're going to find a way out for me. Allah says in the Quran, trust in me, I will find a way out for you. And it's specifically on divorce, by the way. That ayah is in Surah Al-Talaq. Trust in me, I will find a way out for you. And so I think it's a beautiful thing that ayah is correlated to speaking about divorce, because I feel like it's speaking to women specifically. Like, don't stress. Don't sweat it. Allah, I got you. Allah's like, I got you. Trust in me. I'll find a way out for you. And, alhamdulillah, I was a girl where my dad, from when I was this small, was like, instilled in me independence financially. He's a man who doesn't ever like to depend on anyone for anything. Yep. So he put that in all of us. And, many times I was the provider, in my situation. And, and that was fine. And I had no issues with that. But I'm just saying how, I grew up in such a way where, like, I wasn't going to let that happen. Even when I was secure in the marriage, still, like, I just had this sense about me. And I'm so grateful that my dad instilled that in me. No matter what, be dependent on yourself. Get an education. Even if you don't work, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You have a degree. So you never know. And so I think that's important for women. Think about that. Like how for you, if you had nothing and nobody, what's going to sustain you? What's going to fulfill you? And not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You got to have something for yourself anyways.
Right.
You can't depend on other people to just fill your life and then that's going to be your life. Because even if you don't want to leave, and you feel fine, you're going to feel a void at some point. The kids are not going to sustain you. They're not going to fulfill you.
They're going to move on.
They're going to move on. Your husband is not going to fulfill, and no one can sustain you. No one can fill your cup except for yourself.
Yep. So we kind of given the girl's perspective of it. But how about the guy? Why do you think guys sometimes have a hard time letting go?
Because it's cheaper to keep her.
That's what I kind of wanted to say.
Hey, that's a great point. That's a great point. No,
Her.
that's definitely one reason.
Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Because
That's
if
definitely.
a guy, in Islam, if a guy asks for the divorce, he has to pay a certain amount, or
It's
if
not
they're
even that.
sharing
Sometimes the
things, or-
girls like they're a scorned woman. They want to go hard. They'll like dangle it in front of your face. Well, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna take that.
Yeah.
So off of that, we're talking Islamic perspective. Men, I'm just thinking out loud, right? I'm just thinking.
Oh,
They
you're
might
gonna
wanna-
be hunting down whatever you
No,
say.
I'm by the way, my wife, I love her. She's amazing. I just want to throw that out there. But I'm just saying, off of that, I think that's why they think it's maybe even cheaper and easier to marry again.
Back home?
Yeah.
Like a second time.
Yeah, second time. Where
Oh, marry
they
on
feel
top.
they feel that void where they might think that they're missing, and so
Which, if your first wife's on board, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah. That's
If
why I'm
she's
just
on
throwing it out
board with
there.
it,
That's why I think that's what
That's
the
allowed.
situation is with in terms of why guys maybe do. That's a second option
yeah.
of if they're dealt with this kind of situation. That's a whole nother conversation. I don't
that's
want
fine,
to dive
you
into
know,
that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just throwing that out there. I think that's what guys think. I mean, don't y'all
Yeah,
agree?
no, 100%.
You know?
Yeah, but I feel like in this day in society, I don't know what girl is gonna be okay with her
That's what I
husband
was gonna
getting
say,
remarried.
so-
If she's like, if you're like, come on. For me personally, if if I was married and my husband said, "Hey, I want to get remarried," I'm gonna be like, get me out of this because I'm not staying.
But that's you, Amir. There might
Yeah.
be girls
It's
out,
true.
there might
It's
be
true.
girls out there who have no
Whatever
issues
floats
with
your
that.
boat.
Yeah, or like if she's over there and when you go there, you're with her, and when you're with here, at least I know you're not out in these streets. Like,
That's true.
Right. Some women.
If they're there and here, but what if they're both here?
Well, that's what I was saying. If the first one's cool with it,
Yeah,
then do what you do. It's
I-
allowed.
that's true.
I just never met a woman that psychologically is okay with it, even if she says it. And I've never met a man that actually
Treats both
treats
fairly,
both of them
like
fairly.
follows the.
So I
sunnah
just
with
think
her.
it's just chaotic and a whole mess, and like sins are just like it just doesn't work out. I've never seen something like that was perfectly fine from both ends.
Have y'all been to Philly? Y'all need to go to Philly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in Philly.
Like the Black Muslim community, it's
very common.
very, very common.
And I know a lot of girls that are really okay with that. I know how you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Akon,
saying.
Akon has 4 wives.
Yeah, that's what I'm
More, I
saying.
think more.
No, I mean one. They were just saying it was 4, and
okay.
they're
For some
all just
women-
like, yeah,
for
that's
some-
my man, but that's her man, and that's cool. And I'm like,
Yeah, for some
I'm
people,
not
it
gonna lie.
works.
Sometimes I just think, man, maybe I need a
Y'all
break.
are Yemeniyat. Come on, y'all are strong. Women, y'all aren't gonna put up with that. But not everyone's like y'all. You know what
I like
I'm
the
saying?
whole. What was that? I like that.
Yeah, like y'all are Yemeniyat. Like y'all are a different breed. So I get your perspective and stick with it. That's what you want. That's what
Yeah,
you want. But like there are some women out there who don't have an issue with it.
No, sometimes you want a break.
Shifty.
yeah,
you
no,
see?
some of them just be like, yeah, as long as he's paying my bills,
Yeah, I'm
whatever,
good.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
I can live my life, whatever.
I just want people to know
Yeah.
this is
No,
all
no, no,
opinions,
I'm
right?
not
This is
trying
all
to be- I'm
opinions.
not trying to be a- yeah.
We're out
We're
there.
just throwing ideas
Yeah.
out here. It's not. Yeah.
So, I'm going to go to you now, Melanie. Again, you're saying about, the question is basically some men and women are afraid that, when you get divorced, that your life is not going to be the same. That's another reason why people be like, man, we built this up. We know how my life is going to be. So how can divorced people adapt to their new lives? You mentioned it was like a good 2 years where you felt like you were, at a low point.
Mm-hmm.
How did you adapt, I guess, maybe back to your old life or to this new life that, that you were you were never expecting probably a few years ago.
No, not at all. And that's the thing. Your life is going to change drastically. And we have to embrace change. As humans, we evolve. If you think you're going to stay the same, then you might as well be dead. Like, staying stagnant and not growing and not evolving is death to me.
Yeah.
You're going to grow, you're going to evolve. And I understand it feels like such a crazy big change and I don't know what, but you don't know. And you're not gonna know how you're gonna make it, what it's gonna be at the other side, how you're gonna get through it. You don't know. You just have to put all your trust in Allah that you'll be fine. Now, what something my mom told me that was so helpful in the very, very beginning, she was like, Mel, divorce is like death. And our eldest brother had passed away, Allah yarhamah, like 10 years ago. So we've been through it in our family, and I remember what that grieving was like. She's like, just in the same way that you had to grieve Zuhair, Allah yarhamah, you need to grieve your marriage. It's death, it's maut. This thing that you had is gone, dead and gone. The future plans, like you were saying, the future life that you envisioned for yourself, it's dead and gone. You have to grieve that future Melanie. That future unit is gone. And so it's a grieving process, and you have to allow yourself to go through that grief of loss. All the stages, anger, denial, sadness, all the way to acceptance, whatever that looks like in whatever order. And you might take a step forward and take 3 steps back. That's okay. Healing is not linear. It is up and down and all around. And one day you're like, yes, I'm great. I'm doing good. I'm finally out. Ooh, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I'm out the cocoon. I'm like, good. Next day in the fetal position, in my bed, bawling. Healing's not linear. So you got to go through that period of grief. Allow yourself to feel it. Let it take as long as it takes. For me, it took so long. It was 2.5 years because I was grieving other things. Like I said, the divorce was just like the first domino in a like a game of like, how low can Melanie go? Basically, like how, and it's good. Allah knows me.
And he loves you.
He loves me and he knows me. I'd prefer let it all out. Like when it rains, it pours. Let's let this all out. Squish it into 2 years. I'll do all the healing.
Yeah.
Then stretch this all out for 10 years because that could have happened. So I went through it all in a short amount of time. Alhamdulillah, came out the other side. And I'm still in this period of like not knowing. But I was able to embrace the not knowing and take on a mindset of seeing the world as this infinite possibilities.
I love that.
Rather than wanting things to be easy or different than they are right now. And when I did that and I took on that sense of wonder like a child has, when you're a kid, people just tell you where to go.
Yeah,
You don't control or have any sense of like what you do. You're just told. But you have this wonder of like, what's going to happen? Like that's what I took back on. And instead of my parents shuffling me around, it's like God is shuffling me wherever I need to go. I have no control over everything. And I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to allow it to stress me out or be like, what's going to happen because I need to hold on to this control of knowing the next thing. I don't need to know because Allah's got me anyways. I'm good. Right. No matter what happens, I'm good. Like Allah's got my back always. And that's how I was able to navigate through that change, that like very, very jarring, it's like tectonic shifts in your life. I mean, I was married for 11 years, so it's like a long stretch that, you thought would be there forever. And it happens over time, brick by brick. You just have to like keep going. Take it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time if you have to, moment to moment if you have to. Yeah. And you'll get to the other side before you know it.
Regardless if you asked for it or they asked for it, you still go through
right.
it.
That's right.
Nobody goes into a marriage wanting a divorce. Like no one wants that. That's the one thing. Like you don't want to have to go through that.
No.
You don't want to have to waste. I mean, it's not a waste. I don't want to say it's a waste. Regardless of how long you've been in a marriage, it was a learning opportunity. It was memories. Like don't dwell. Like there's still some good.
Yeah.
Take the good, take the bad, and move on.
That's
you
right.
know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So
I'm glad you said that because I'm the one who wanted the divorce.
Yeah.
And it was still just as hard.
Right.
Like it wasn't easy. It was hard to break someone's heart. It was hard to shatter someone's world. It was hard to learn the lesson of finally putting myself and my needs first when I had never done that in my life. I allowed other people's needs to come before mine. And to learn the lesson of no, Melanie, you're not going to do that anymore. I had to hurt someone. And I'm an empath. The last thing I can do is hurt somebody. When I see somebody hurt, my heart hurts. So for me to be the one serving out that hurt was like the hardest thing for me to do. But that's life. Sometimes you're going to be the villain in somebody's story.
Yeah.
And I had to get right with that. To him, the way he tells this story, that's what it's going to look like. And that I had to just be okay with that.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think it's selfish for the other person to hold you hostage and make you feel bad for them in a situation of like when you want a divorce, but they don't want one?
That's manipulation and guilt.
Yeah.
And that's terrible. You can't force someone to love you. Like,
But just to play devil's advocate, I agree with your like asking, but or what you were saying, but for others, they will see it as like at least you got to fathom the situation, or got to like at least like put it in your head and accept it before them.
yes.
And to them, it's kind of a surprise.
Absolutely.
So that's why they're like, wait, what are you talking about? No, we can fix it. Da, da, da. But in your head, you already, been
you already
thinking about
played
this
it.
over and over and over again.
That's right.
And you're just like, no, I'm good. But to them, it's a surprise. So I get why some people will do that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you've emotionally disconnected
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So you're ahead of the game. And I was ahead. And that's something somebody else told me too. They're like, listen, you have to give him time, because as
Yeah.
you've been ruminating about this for however many months, his rumination has just started. Because obviously with us, right? Like he has to give me the divorce.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do a khula. And at what point though, I was like, Baba, because my dad's an imam. I was like, Baba, can we just do a khula, please? And he's like, la. Because my dad also knew my situation.
Can you explain to people what that is, by the way?
Oh, sure. So Islamically, the man gives the divorce, okay? And it's very easy. He just says, we're divorced. Like, it's
Yeah.
really simple. If the man won't give you a divorce, you do what's called a khula, which is you would go to an imam, and then you kind of have to go through the imam to initiate the divorce. And then there's different imams do it differently, but there's a process involved. It's not as easy. But because it was taking, I don't want to say too long, it took as long as it took, but I was being impatient.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to come sooner. I was like, Baba, can we just do a khula? And he's like, no. Because he knew my ex and what the situation. He's like, just be patient.
Yeah.
Relax. Just be patient. Give him time. Like, he needs to process this too. And alhamdulillah, he was right. Like, within weeks, alhamdulillah, it came. And it was like, we got married in Laylat al-Qadr in Ramadan.
Oh, subhanAllah.
And he divorced me the first night of Ramadan. Like, married, like full circle. We got married and divorced in Ramadan. It felt blessed. Like, I felt like I had Allah's blessing, alhamdulillah. And that wait was worth it. Because to have that peace of mind that, like, wow, this happened in Ramadan. Like, at then Maghrib, we hadn't even fasted a day yet. Within 2 hours, he came in and gave me the divorce.
SubhanAllah.
That is deep. That is deep. But we're gonna go ahead and run now the next ad. We're gonna pause this great conversation so far and give a shout out to the Balkan House Restaurant. Definitely a place that we gotta have you try one time soon, inshallah, Melanie. Shout out to the Balkan House Restaurant, and then we'll go from there. The Balkan House Restaurant. The Balkan House Restaurant is famous for their doner kebab sandwich. But did you know that the Balkan House now serves breakfast? Did you also know that all their food is 100% halal? The Balkan House now also have 2 food trucks, so you can book your next party or event with the Balkan House on wheels. Their Hamtramck location is 3028 Kniff Street, Hamtramck, Michigan. Their Ferndale location is 314 West 9 Mile Road, Ferndale, Michigan. Again, you can book their food trucks for your next party or event. So if you're looking for a nice place to eat with friendly service and great prices, look no further than the Balkan House Restaurant. Now, I don't know what everyone's situation is, but everyone's situation is different. Obviously, when you divorce, you are now allowed to look for someone else and marry someone else. Being replaced is a harsh word, but, replaced, okay? How, and I don't know what your situation is, or Abid, I don't even know what his situation is, but how do people cope with being replaced? Or do you know ways people can cope with being replaced, even though you may have asked for the divorce? It's kind of like weird to see someone else with the person that you were with. I'm assuming. So how do people cope with maybe being divorced? Maybe I don't know if you want to. Do you have an answer for this one?
I was gonna say I don't even know if my ex is married. So like for me,
Obviously,
I
there's
would
people
not- I
out there
would-
that
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
for sure.
Yeah.
But I just want to say for me, I really wouldn't care. Like everybody deserves to be happy.
Yeah.
That's right.
You should want for your ex what you want for yourself. If you want to be happy, wish happiness for them. Why be bitter? Why be like Allah's gonna give you better.
That's right.
You know, like really like 100% in your heart, you should feel like, khalas, it didn't work. Let it go. Live your life. Don't harness that negativity because you're only going to hold yourself back.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get married. They're going to do them. They're going to move on. Do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about them.
You know what's funny? I had a flip. For me, it was flipped. It was like I almost felt a sense of guilt. And I was like, no. I felt a sense of I won't be able to fully be happy until he's married again.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what is that? That's gross. That's guilt. And guilt is a terrible emotion. Guilt is only helpful when you're about to do something and your guilt sets in and you're like, stop. That's
Yeah.
not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to hold on to guilt and shame is so unhealthy because now you're moving from those lower vibrational emotions and it's dictating how you move. And that was dictating in other parts of my life how I moved. Wasn't advocating for myself anymore because I was afraid of feeling that guilt again. So I put other people's needs before me again. So I had to be like, no, Mel, he gets married, he doesn't get married. It's his nasib. Like for me, it's like,
That's it.
he's not for me anymore. So why am I even worried? Allah will give him what's best. I pray he gets the best, like you just said. But whether it happens or it doesn't happen has no bearing on me. And I can't feel bad for it just because he wanted to stay married. I'm not going to be able to find my happiness until he finds his. No.
Yeah.
And that's where I was actually. I was like flipped. One thing some girl said to me in a DM once is she was like, you know, all the things that I wish that my ex had done, all the things I asked him to do, like, hey, these are some things, they're deficiencies I see in you or whatever, he never did them. Then she says he moves on to the next girl and he did them all for her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she's like, how do you cope with this? How do you cope with it? Everything I wanted him to be, he finally became, but with somebody else. And I was like, well, aren't you happy that he became those things with or without you? Aren't you happy that he got there, whether it was with you or not? Like that is the level of detachment you have to have to people, that whether or not he's with you or he's not with you, you should just be happy that he got to that place. And that was really all I could say because I couldn't relate.
Right. No, I feel you. The thing is that, cause yeah, sometimes some guys just, no matter what they do, they're gonna just be them, you know? But in situations, I have a situation, I'm gonna spin this a little bit. Two people got divorced. The girl, you know, kind of couldn't really accept it. So was holding certain things, against her husband or whatever. And it was not until she finally fell in love and moved on where she became nicer. She let things go. And like, sometimes you want that person to move on so they can leave you alone. It's not about even guilt or whatever. It's like, so they can stop bothering you.
Take their energy off of you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes that works in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
But
if you feel like you're being replaced, to be honest, what that tells me is a low sense of self.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
It feels
you didn't let go yet.
Yeah.
you didn't let go. You feel like you were rejected instead of seeing it as God's protection. Rejection is God's protection. Someone doesn't want you, Allah's protecting
Hey,
you.
Ramsey, clap that.
Yeah.
clap.
Yeah.
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 That's not Ramsey, by the way. It's our live crowd that we have here. I want to make sure.
I like that.
If Allah rejects you,
No.
If someone
something
rejects you,
yeah.
rejection is God's
There
protection.
you go.
So whether it's
Rejection
a
is God's
job,
protection.
You know, and one of my biggest fears is rejection. So thank you for that.
no, there's
Thank
no
you.
such thing as rejection.
Not from like a person. I'm saying in general. I
I
hate when
know.
somebody. I hate when people say no to me.
I know. It could be a school you're trying to get
Yeah.
into. It could be a job offer. It could be anything. You get rejected and you feel defeated.
Yeah.
What you don't know is Allah's saving you from something. He's protecting
Absolutely.
you from something. He has
Absolutely.
something better for you. So it's like if you're feeling replaced, that means that you need to work on your sense of self and
Yeah.
sense of worth and your security in who you are to know that you could never be replaced. Like you're so bomb. Like you're irreplaceable.
You're the prize.
That's right. You're the prize. And you two just didn't work out. So he'll go on and find his and you'll go on and find something else.
All love.
That's right.
Your thoughts? Anything you want to mention on that for specific one? I just want to make sure I pass it on to you, Sada, because I know right now your the experience is not full there. Alhamdulillah, that's a good thing. But just want to make sure you share your 2 cents anytime you feel like it.
I feel like I was like throwing random things out
Okay.
that I'm good.
Okay, so go ahead. What are you about to say?
Does this like make you? How does this make you feel to hear situations like this? Does it scare you?
Someone
from
that has
getting
not been married yet.
No,
That's what she's asking.
honestly, like I say this when we have these conversations, you know, in the podcast or not. Like, I'm not afraid if that's what has to happen. I'm just like
Good for you.
the only thing that would like. I mean, of course, like I feel like I've felt the heartbreak before. I felt situations before, and obviously, again, situations are all different. But I just feel like that. The only thing I fear about is that if there's like a child involved and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like I'm just like, if it happens, like I'm not. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. You know.
That's not deterring you from like.
Absolutely, and especially because I'm, you know, at this age and stuff like that, where like, you know, I don't have kids yet, or I'm not married yet, or anything like that. Like, I'm only growing and maturing, and you know, making like getting things done for me. That like, if that ever did happen, I would never feel like my life is over. You know.
Good for you.
Does this also help you like kind of think of what you want and don't want? And, like, things to
Absolutely,
look
yeah. But at the same time, subhanallah, even if you think that's what you want, it might be what you want at, you know, might be what I want at, you know, 25, but at 30, we're evolving, it might not work out. So
That's right.
I just see it as there's a 50-50 chance I'm getting married, and in the marriage there's a 50-50 chance I'm getting a divorce.
You're
you
right.
know,
You're right.
and that's just life.
That's nice. Good for you.
And it's not. I don't think that's sad. You know,
No,
like,
not at all. That's
it's-
real.
It shouldn't. Yeah, it shouldn't be sad. That's just the
Reality.
reality of it,
Yeah.
and that's okay. Like whatever is meant for you is meant for you, and rejection is protection.
That's right.
I'm about to use
I
that
never
line.
understood the idea of, you know how some people say when the right person comes, like, you know, just everything, like you'll agree to certain things, and then I'm like,
What do you
talking
mean?
about?
What do you
No,
mean?
okay,
What do you mean?
wait. No, I
Like,
get it.
no, when they say like if the right person comes, you'll sabr ala certain things. You'll be patient for certain things. You'll be
Okay.
okay with certain things. You'll be, you know,
Because the right person hasn't come yet.
I don't know.
Oh,
So
so you agree?
there's that argument. No, there's
I
that.
agree too.
There's
Talking
that
about
argument,
that.
but also I was actually just
I mean,
I mean,
trying to put her foot down. Stop it, Abir.
Yeah, but you won't. Yeah, because honestly, you're keeping it away from yourself.
Yeah.
I understand that, but to me, I'm not at a certain before. Like I was different. Now I'm not gonna lie to you. There's three things: the man has to provide, has to protect, and has to lead. 100%.
can I?
Good for
That's
you.
it.
You know what you want.
That's it. And I'm not gonna be okay with anything else.
Good for you.
I was talking to my cousin earlier, and we were just like messing, and I was just like saying like we bashing men in general or whatever.
Wait, hold on. I
Yeah.
bet somebody comment. Can you repeat that one more time? Was it three? Was your three? So I was messing around.
There's no comments today.
He laughed. No, and I was telling her like,
I can't with you.
I was telling her like people that would, you know, like sisters or cousins or whatever would throw interest in me of certain guys, or just like guys that I just thought I was interested in, whatever. I was like, they were saying, I was like, they're all just whack. Like really just not what I deserve. And then I was like, but I feel like any type of entertainment that happened before was because I felt like I just needed to get married, or I wasn't happy about my life at that time, where marriage will just make it easier or bring me an opportunity or whatever it may be. I was like, well, but now I'm just like, no. I have a type to a T that I deserve and I want, and it's like, I'm gonna get it or I'm gonna get it. You get what I'm saying? Whether it's now or it's later. So and
You're
then
not gonna settle.
Yeah, and she was looking at me and she was like, that was so beautifully said, and like she was so proud of me, and I'm like, yeah, you know,
Good for you.
the older you get, the more, you know, you realize you just can't do that, you know. It's, you know, when it's the right person, or whatever, like I can't just be that way.
Go ahead.
I think that every situation is different.
Yeah.
So somebody might come along where you're not going to have everything you thought you wanted, but your heart's going to tell you, this is it. This is it. But because the love is put in your heart, you will compromise lovingly. However, if it feels like a betrayal of self, like you're sacrificing something, that's when you know this isn't it. So to have a standard is necessary.
Yeah.
Have a standard and don't settle for anything less than what you believe you deserve. For sure, you know you want a protector, a provider, and a leader. Good for you. That's a real man right there. And inshallah, you get him. And that's your standard. Now, in the details, you know, because every marriage has ups and downs.
Absolutely.
We're human. We're flawed. So there are going to be things you're not into, things that you're going to have to overlook, things you're going to hate. There are going to be days when you're like, I don't like this person. Straight up. But if the love, the actual love that Allah puts in your hearts, that He says, I put between you love and compassion. He puts that love in your heart for the other person. We talked about this last time, right?
Yeah.
So when that love is there, it'll allow you to overlook those things and to have that loving compromise, that loving entanglement, or like bumping up against one another. That's never going to be this, like, we're not in Jannah yet.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect.
Right. But that standard that you set for yourself, I think, is absolutely necessary. And I'm happy you just said this, because I don't think a lot of girls believe that they're even allowed to do that.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's a good guy. That's what happened to
Nice.
me, y'all.
He
That's
has
what happened. He's a
potential.
good
He's
guy.
nice.
Yo. And I'm not trying to knock my ex or anything. He is a good guy. Like, he is. But that's not it. Like, that
That's
can't
not
be
what-
all it is. Like, lots of good guys are out there. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, at that time, it's like, I was 25. All my friends got married when I was like 18,
Yeah,
19.
pressure.
So I was already considered older, which is like 25, you're a baby. But it was like a good guy finally came along, because every guy before that was just like not up to par. And then a good guy comes along. So it's like, oh, it's so funny, because I was having lunch with a high school friend of mine the other day. And she said, yeah, I remember when you were getting married. I was like, this chick, I don't know what she's doing. I'm like, why? She's like, I asked, because I could tell you weren't in love. And I was like, really? How could you tell? She's like, it was obvious. I go, then why did I do it? And she's like, I asked you, why are you getting married? And you said, I don't have
He's
a
a good
reason to
guy.
say no.
Yes.
No, I told her, I don't have a reason to say no.
Yeah.
I was like, I said that? She goes, yeah, because I asked you point blank. It didn't feel right. And I was like, that's crazy. And there's nothing I can do about that. That's
Yes,
where I was in my life at the time. I made that decision. Min Allah, it was mine to sleep, you know, but it's great, because now we're in a position where young single girls don't have to have that mentality.
Yeah.
They can set a standard. And even if that means they have to wait till they're 45, you know, inshallah, it doesn't come to that, but like, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to settle.
Sometimes you have to really catch yourself. Because sometimes you get married, and then when people like ask you, or you get engaged, people ask you, and you find yourself making excuses.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know this, and that's the red flag. When you have to make like little like you know, excuses for them. When they go,
Yeah.
oh, what? Yeah, well, he's still gonna like, you know.
That's rough.
Yeah, you have to catch yourself.
Yeah, you best be excited.
Yes.
Like, that's my man. Let's
Right.
go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This is some great conversations. I know people are gonna definitely, inshallah, benefit from this conversation and this
Or
talk,
laugh.
or laugh, hopefully in
Or think
between,
we're crazy.
or think we're all the above. So that's why we're here. So there's a part of that comes with divorce that I guess a lot of people don't really talk about, and this is like, don't give advice on, and it's the economic, financial part of it. You know.
Sure.
You know, when you get divorced, obviously a lot of the households, you have 2-income household. Now it becomes a 1-income household, and you also still have the kids. You know, the kids that you and the other spouse, you know, had. So it's like, you know, now you're not sharing income, and how do you kind of deal with that? Or what advice do you have when it comes to going from a 2-income household to a 1-income household? Now that you're alone, and I know that kind of. Well, I mean, I don't even know he was providing.
No,
for
I want to start this off because I
Okay.
feel like it's a big issue. It's a big issue, but I feel like people need to be transparent from the beginning, from the beginning of your marriage. When you're doing your nikah contract or the aqd contract, you need to say on there. You can't say on there, oh, because like in our culture, they'll put like 10,000 whatever, and that's it. Like, and then when it actually happens, no, they're asking for half of the house, they're asking for other things. You know what I'm saying? The American way. So I think be transparent from day one. Hey, if we get divorced, I want half. Like that's what's going to be on the aqd contract. Don't try to like be nice in the beginning and be
Acquiesce.
this type of way, and then bam, when things don't go the way that you want them to go, now you're trying to take everything. You know what I'm saying? Men and women. Like, you have to protect yourself, because I've known men that went after their wives' stuff, and I've known women that went after their ex-husband's stuff. So I feel like if everybody's transparent from day one, you know, like, this is, if things go on wrong, Allah laqad, or whatever, this is how it should be. So you're avoiding all that drama, that nastiness that happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I just feel like follow the sunnah. That's me. That's my thing. And Allah will provide for you.
That's right.
I'm thinking more of this question with parent, family. Like, I understand that part, but I feel like with families or parents or, you know, husband and a wife, just kind of past that now. Like, we're 1 year down the line. Maybe that money is not even like there anymore. Now, how do they deal? What advice do you tell them in terms of like being a one income household?
Well, that's now their journey, right? That's their struggle. That's their jihad now. It's like, okay, I had this dependency, or I had this rizq coming my way that's no longer here. Now I have to depend on myself and Allah to provide for myself and my children. How am I going to do that? Figure it out. Like, life is tough. Like, life is not easy. This is the path that Allah puts you on to strengthen you, to fortify you, to make you an abd, like a real slave of God who's going to be so dependent on God. Ultimately, this is a journey back to Him. And how do you get back to Him? Pain. Like, there's no growth without pain and struggle. And we shouldn't ask for it, but it's going to come. This is dunya. This is dunya. Life is tough. Life is hard. And like, I know people don't want to hear that, but that's just because we're all protecting ourselves from pain. And that's why we develop coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms, because we don't want to feel that pain. But it's like, good luck. Good luck trying to protect yourself from pain. This is dunya. You're going to feel it. You're going to go through life. No one is immune to the hardships of life. And so when it comes your way, no matter what that looks like, if what your journey is that now you're a one income household, you got 3 kids, you never worked in a day in your life, guess what? You're going to learn. You're going to learn a thing or two.
But I do want to say, as for the kids, they are the dad's responsibility. So if you are a father and you have kids and you're divorced, you need to take care of your kids.
Great point.
You need to take care of your kids. It's your job.
That's right. I guess it's more so for her, right? Because the alimony might run out.
Yeah.
And the kids are taken care of, but what about me now?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you as well. But I feel like
that's a
in
great
my
point.
situation, I mean, I'm going to put out there, I don't get child support. And I did it on my own. I figured it out. Like you said, I figured it out.
Yeah.
I worked full time. I went to school, raising a kid, lived with my parents for the longest, got on my feet. And if I can figure it out and I'm a girl, you can figure it out.
That's
you know what I'm
right.
saying? But life doesn't end.
That's right.
If you want things for yourself, why are you going to wait for a man to give it to you?
That's right. And Islamically, that is what a man should do. And inshallah, he does.
Inshallah.
But for those
It's the goal.
But for those who don't, you're still going to be just fine.
Yep.
Just like you.
Alhamdulillah.
Just
Go ahead
like
and
you.
give your mama a round of applause, man.
Yeah.
Just saying,
Give your
like,
mama a round of applause, man.
don't feel like the reason why you want to be stuck in a situation is because you are not going to be able to survive.
Fear of poverty.
Yeah.
Allah talks about that all the time. Fear of poverty. Like, it holds us back from so much. And Allah's like, if you only knew how much rizq is behind that fear, if you could just break through that fear, how much abundance is here waiting for you.
100%.
I love it. I love it. So, going off of that, with the kids part, do you think it's true that when you are divorced, individual people become better parents to their kids? Sometimes when you're married, you focus on each other and you get so busy with life. And then when you're divorced, you kind of somewhat have a little more time in your hands. And how you mentioned, I don't want to say that guilt, but it does happen sometimes. And so now you want to make sure that this person does not go through that in life. So you kind of be more focused on the kid and make sure that they're loved more because they know that, they had 2 parents, now they only have 1. So in general, I'll ask, again, I mean, maybe you're going to start us off on this one because I know you have the kid. So do you believe that's true?
100%.
Wow.
Because when I was married, I was not mentally, like, I wasn't there. I was worried about everything, that stress, everything that was going on in my life. I feel like that burden, that heavy burden, because you guys don't realize, like, when you're in a marriage and you're not happy, it affects everything.
That's right.
Your health, your mental being, like just everything. And like having that get lifted, that's why you probably didn't have the patience during that time when you wanted that divorce, because it's like sitting on your shoulders.
That's right. Limbo. You're in limbo.
Literally, you're like, come on, like I just want to move on, and just when that just, and then, I mean, I don't want to be like this, but I loved raising my son with my standards and not having to argue or or the good parent, bad cop, good cop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just nice that I was able to just do it myself, and just me and him, and subhanallah. I don't know. I don't want to get like canceled here, but subhanallah, like everybody is just. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me at work, for me at work, I feel like if you're not happy together, it's not good for the kids. They're gonna see that. It's gonna just dwindle down to them.
That's gonna be their standard in marriage as well.
100%.
Can I get a round of applause?
Yeah.
That's right.
True.
I don't think we gotta give Sada a round of applause. I don't know. You gotta look out for Sada, man.
It's cheaper to keep her tooth for that one. That was
That was a good one. That was a cool, because it's true. You want to add on to that? I mean, I know you don't have kids, but just in general, friends or.
But you have your parents.
But my parents,
yeah.
right? So my parents fought all the time. And the only memories I have, my parents divorced when I was 5. The only memories I have of my mom and dad together were bickering and fighting and bringing the children in the middle of it, in fact. And it was terrible. It sucked. As a kid, you're always on eggshells and you're anxious and you're like, oh, what's going to happen next? And it's like, these torpedoes going off in the household in a place where you're supposed to be safe. Your home must be a safe ground for a child. And if they don't feel safe at home, they will develop traumas that will certainly affect the way they grow up. Mm-hmm. And because I didn't grow up in that safe environment, that then put me on a path that it was very difficult for me to navigate, because I don't feel safe anywhere now. And then when my story is really different, but I think had my dad found his happiness and my mom found hers post-divorce, I would have turned out differently. That just wasn't the case. But what I learned affected how I chose a partner. And so if you see your mom putting up with like mental abuse, emotional abuse, certainly physical abuse, you as a girl will see that, or even a boy. And that's what you think that is normal. And you, whether you even know it or not, subconsciously, you're going to attract that to yourself, because that's all you know. Mm-hmm. And so you have a responsibility as a parent to ensure that you are providing the best example possible for your children to look at, and then say, oh, that's what a healthy dynamic looks like. This is what give and take looks like. This is what loving compromise looks like. This is what it looks like to argue in a healthy way. Mm-hmm. This is what it looks like to have disagreements about things, but then come together in the end, even if one person still is like, listen, I don't agree with it, but I respect your decision. And it's on our parents to model that for us so that we can go out there in the world and then model that for ourselves. Yeah. Otherwise, it is just a repeating cycle, generation after generation, until we break it. And what I keep talking about with my brother as he's going through it is like we were the ones to break that generational pattern. I don't like to call it a curse. They say that generational curses. Yeah. It's just a generational pattern and cycle. Yeah. Our generation is breaking it, and it came from lineage. I'm talking, it went back, not just my parents, their parents, their parents, their parents, that me and my brother in our line are now breaking for ourselves and saying, no more, we're not doing this anymore. Yeah. We're going to choose ourselves. We're going to choose our happiness. And it's like, for so long, it felt like you're not allowed to be happy. You're not allowed to choose what happiness? There's no happy. No, Allah wants us to be happy. Some people don't
confuse it with patience. They think, oh, you're not patient. Yeah. If you're happy, you're not patient.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Like, spuri. My grandma said that the other day. She's like, oh, because till now she can't understand why I'm not married anymore. Because nothing big happened.
100%.
No one cheated on anybody. Nobody
hit
you. Anybody. Yep. Yeah. It was, she's just like, Lish, Keith, mom befam. She's like, she's like, I don't understand. Sorry to speak in Arabic. She's like, I don't understand what happened. She's like, I know what it is. She wasn't patient enough. Yeah. She didn't, she didn't know how to just just deal.
100%.
Why do I have to do that? Why? Tell me why. When he can go off and find somebody that can love him the way he wants to be loved, I can go off and find someone who wants to love me the way I want to be loved, and we can both be happy. Why should we suffer together for the name of, "Lo, we're not going to get divorced." Why? And I don't have children.
But that's
what's
all they
keeping me
know.
here?
all they know.
Exactly. That's what I mean about breaking that generational cycle. Like that mentality, no more. We're not doing that anymore. And now my brother's children, he has 4 of them, is going to see a new way. This isn't what it is. Because I think my mom started, like, she tried and then went off to find her happiness, but it wasn't, like, she didn't get it right. And now I really think my brother and I are going to get it right, inshallah.
Her.
Per as a per. There you go. So, going off another situation. Is it true that divorced people become even stronger than they were before? Because a lot of people, are afraid to get divorced because they're gonna be alone and they think they're weak and they can't handle it, they can't take it, so that's why they stay in the relationship. But I read something that, and I think the answer is simple, and I believe it's a yes. But is it true that divorced people become even stronger than they were before? Go ahead, Abir.
I think it depends on the person. I think if you want to take that step to be a better version of yourself and you do things for yourself and you go, and find your way and find your happy. You know how you were saying if you're getting it right and not getting, it's up to you. You have to put in the work. You're not just going to get stronger.
That's right.
If you're at home, sitting, moping around, still harnessing that negative energy, still staying in those circles that are not going to help you get better, like you have to put in the work. And I guarantee you can. You can be stronger because now you have wisdom. You have actual, things happen to you. You're not the same little girl when you first got married, that, or whatever, that naive, person. Now you actually have some, experience and like things to take with you. Because not all baggage is bad baggage. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So, yeah.
You're right. It does depend on the person, because I was going to be like, resounding yes. But you're right, because anytime adversity hits, you have one of 2 choices. You can either become a victim to it and your pain becomes you, and that's now your story, and that's now your woe is me, and the life is so hard on me. Yeah, life treated me so terribly. And now you're just attracting more and more of that becomes this like cyclone of trash in your life. Or you're going to rise above it. You're going to allow it to shape you, to make you wiser and stronger and better. Margaret Thatcher has this great quote. She's talking about women, but it applies to anybody. But she's like, women are like tea bags. You don't know how strong they are until they're put in hot water. And it's like...
That was a good
It's true, because it takes adversity. It takes going through something really difficult to know what you're made of. I didn't know. Wallahi, I was so proud of myself. And I'm already a really strong person. I didn't know I had that strength. I was like, damn, I really can do it all. And it wasn't even the divorce, to be honest. The divorce was easy, relatively speaking, to other things I went through. It was actually when I learned I could run the company on my own. Because something that I was really afraid of, I think that my biggest apprehension when deciding whether or not to get divorced, because we don't have children, was the business. Because we were 50-50 owners, and he was the COO, I'm CEO. He runs half the company, I run the other half. We both have our own teams, right? And we're like 2 heads. And I was like, I might lose my business over this. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Because I was also, I'm going to take responsibility. I allowed myself to believe I didn't know how to do certain things. I wasn't good at certain things. And I think that came from an insecurity that, was projected onto me. When I know I'm very capable, but I allowed myself to buy into that narrative. So I thought I couldn't do it. And then when he left and, and alhamdulillah how Allah does things, it was in stages. Like we first got the divorce, but he's like, no, I'm going to stay with the company. I'm cool with that. Alhamdulillah, that's a blessing, actually a relief for me. Like, let's still run the company, be professional. Well, I'm cool if you're cool.
Yeah.
And we did that for like another year. And then he was like, yeah, I think it's time to go. And, so it came in stages. And then when he finally left, and like all his shares got bought out even. So he's not even on the board anymore. He's like gone. He's not just like stepped down as COO. And I took the reins. And of course, my team is incredible. I have an amazing team. I didn't do it alone because Allah will send you who you need. But I was still able to do it on my own, so to speak. And that's when I was
without
like,
him.
Without him. And that's when I was like, damn, Wallah, I'm strong. Wallah, I can do anything. Wallahi, with Allah, I can do anything. With Allah, nothing is impossible.
Wow.
And that moment was so powerful for me. I just remember feeling like a lion, like I'm a whole warrior. I can
know,
do
that's right.
anything. Wallah. So you don't know how strong you are until you're put in hot water and you know what you're made of, and then you're fearless in this world. And there's nothing more potent and more powerful than a fearless Muslim in today's world. We got the truth. We have light. We have light. Spread it to the whole world. But you can't do that if you are shrinking yourself and making yourself feel small. You're never going to fulfill your highest potential to do the maximum amount of good while you're on this earth to serve God. You
For sure.
won't.
For sure.
100%.
I love that.
Beautiful.
That's good. Go ahead and give that a whole round of applause. This has been a very great show so far. I just want to mention this, Ramsey. Go ahead and we're gonna run the juice box ad. But before we do that, Ramsey, I just want to throw this out there that we're about to go into the Motivate Me 313 minute. So that's where we record you, Melanie, and we're gonna. I want to get your phone ready. Looking for some advice. Keep it within maybe a minute if that's possible, and then we'll go from there. So go ahead and Ramsey run that juice box ad, and we'll continue the show.
Juice Box in Hamtramck. Juice Box in Hamtramck is a new business that we've all been waiting for. If you're looking for a place with the best smoothies, milkshakes, ice cream, crepes, cereal bars, and slushies, then Juice Box in Hamtramck is your one-stop shop. You can try things like their Biscoff or Nutella shakes, crepes, watermelon blasts, strawberry burst or mango smoothies, as well as cereal options such as Fruit Loops, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Fruity Pebbles. They even have a comfortable outdoor patio/courtyard area that you and your friends can enjoy while trying those delicious drinks. So be sure to stop by Juice Box in Hamtramck. Location is 11647 Joseph Campo Avenue, and be ready to leave there with a big smile on your face. And if you're on the run, order your drink from their new Juice Box app, downloadable on all of your smartphone devices.
Yeah. Thank you. Shout out to Juice Box, shout out to Hakeem, shout out to all of our sponsors, the Balkan House, Hanley International Academy, Qahwa House, BC Adhesives, and Juice Box in Hamtramck. We appreciate all of them, seriously. Great people over there, all those businesses. We appreciate the support a ton. So with that said, this is that part where we do the Motivate Me 313 minute. First of all, what an amazing show, Ramsey. You want to go ahead and do one more round of applause, seriously, because it's been a great time. Great conversation.
It was a therapy session with you, for real.
For sure. So again, basically 1 minute, give us some advice. And the question is, what advice, basically kind of wrapping this all up, what advice do you have for someone who may be struggling after their divorce?
Oh, gosh. Sorry, I should have thought about it. You know what? If you are struggling after your divorce, I would take this opportunity to take a time out and go back inward into yourself and reintroduce yourself to yourself and that's what I did. I was like, what did Melanie do before she was married? What were the things I was into? What were my hobbies? What were my passions? Well, who am I? What am I about? Who's Melanie? At the core of me, who am I? And in that, I was able to build my strength up, build my confidence back up. Not that I have any lack of it, but you know what I mean? I needed to really get back to the core of me. And in doing that, I was able to face the world again, even stronger. And 100% you will come back stronger if you take the time to do that work.
There you go, Ramsey. Go ahead and do that one last time.
That was a perfect minute.
Was it?
Yeah, it's crazy, girl.
Allah is so good to me. I can't
Love
tell you.
about
Do you know how many times that happens to me? I have to do a voice recording, and it's like, al-ad.
Good. You are really good at that.
I was gonna mention this. I'm gonna wait at the end of the show. You should. I know you do your Instagrams, but you should look into doing your own podcast and
If I had a nickel for everyone who told me, "Where's your podcast? Get a podcast," I'm not interested.
Okay.
I will come here and talk to y'all anytime you want me.
That's right.
I appreciate you.
But having my own, this seems like a lot of work. I'm not.
Just
Just
a lot of backhand stuff.
put me somewhere. خليني أحكي, let me talk, and I'm good.
الكاوتش حقش.
There you go.
Yeah, this is nice seat when
Yeah.
I'm here.
Anytime. Anytime. You know, I'm sure you know a lot of topics that you would think is very important
Yeah,
for the
just come
community.
here. We'll kick it. I don't
Yeah.
need my own.
There you
Love
go.
it.
Khalas.
There you go. All right. So with that said, again, this was season 2, episode 35 of Motivate Me 313's podcast. First of all, be sure to subscribe to all of our pages: YouTube, Oz Media, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under Oz Media. You can listen to this show on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. Future reference, you want to call in on a live show. The number is 313-306-1750. Shout out to Qahwa House, Balkan House, BC Adhesives, Juice Box and Hamtramck, and Haley International Academy. Final words, Sada, any final comments?
Always a blast. Always learning something. You, as soon as you walk in a room, you're so radiant and positive.
Oh, you're so sweet.
No, seriously, such a motivator. Love it.
Abir?
You have to come back.
Yeah.
That's
Done.
it. It's a wrap.
Over and over again.
Yes.
Khalas. Yes.
I'm serious.
Me too.
So I love you, and I appreciate you spending time with us and sharing your gems.
I love you too. Can I have a wrap up?
Of course. That's what you were going to end us off.
I love this family. And I really love how Ahmad, as the leader, because you are, really gives everyone here the opportunity to really let out what they want to let out. And it's never a no. It's always a yes. It's like, yes, please speak your mind. Please continue. It's not like, no, we got to get on to the next. No, go. And I love that. And it's beautiful. And to know that you guys are siblings and you do that is incredible. So congrats for being an incredible leader.
Thank you.
Ahmad.
Appreciate it. Alhamdulillah.
Per.
Allah. It's all Allah. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate Allah for putting us in this position. So thank you. And I appreciate my sisters for having the courage to come out here and have these conversations. And of course, we appreciate always our guests, specifically you as well. Melanie, thank you so much for coming out here. We know busy schedules, and so we're really grateful. So that's why we're about to treat you out for some, inshallah, some dinner, some asha. That is the show. Any final quick, I know you got final words. Is any final things you want to say, or?
See you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you all next week, and we hope you enjoyed it. And make sure you share anybody that you feel like is going through something. You know, even if it was a 2-minute clip where you feel like that they can, learn something from it. Send it off to people. So that's the great way of helping people in certain situations. So we hope you enjoy the show, and like Sada said, we'll see you all next week. Have a great rest.